Hi, Abneesh. Good morning. Let's talk about the biggest winner yesterday, Reliance Industries, the one that contributed 45% to the Nifty's gains. What's your view on the stock from here on?
You see, Reliance is, I would say, an excellent story which will create a lot of shareholder value in the coming years. So I will not go purely by numbers, but the kind of ecosystem it is building around, say, new energy and some of the emerging businesses. And I think the main thing is that as they take shape over the next few years, there will be tremendous value unlocking and value creation, which is going to happen. So I think if you look at, say, take a medium to long-term view, I think the stock continues to look very interesting.
Okay, that is on Reliance. Plenty of other stocks in focus. In fact, I wanted your thoughts on Bajaj Finance. The numbers this time around, asset quality was stable, numbers were above estimates. From a long-term investor standpoint, how does it look?
You see, Bajaj Finance never had an issue with the numbers because the company sustains good growth, the balance sheet is good, and your asset quality has never been an issue. The only, I would say, reason that I have been always very cautious is that the Bajaj Finance always trades at a very fancy price to book. And I have seen over the years that anything which trades at very fancy price to book eventually reverts towards the mean. But having said that, the stock has corrected from something like 9,000 rupees or 8,500, 9,000 to current levels, which can give I would say, reasonable trade over the next 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there is this 2 years of underperformance as well, right? It's not done very much at all over the last 2 years. Amnish, morning. What's going on with this entire PSU space? I mean, forget about the smaller railway stocks, etc. ONGC, Coal India, BPCL, Power Grid, NTPC. These were some of the biggest gainers, ex-Reliance, in yesterday's 400-point Nifty rally.
See, there is one clear, I would say, trade which has been happening. If you look at, say, past few years, there was clearly something like an ESG trade, which got emanated from, you can say, some of the developed markets, that all the companies which are using, say, for example, all these refining companies, all the companies which are using your coal as the feedstock for the power. So all these companies are not very ESG compliant in the long term. And so it is not only in India, worldwide, that these stocks got butchered for many, many years. But now what has happened, I think 2 to 3 things. First being that the kind of growth rates India is witnessing, there is very good demand for whether it is power, whether it is some of these companies. That is one. Secondly, even if you go by what is being said globally, that, for example, EV might be, say, 30%, but even it doesn't mean that the demand for some of these products is going to die down immediately. And the third factor seems to be that you can say the kind of valuation and underperformance which was there. So it seems to be more or less, I would say, some sort of a catch-up situation as of now. Now, if we look at currently, I think all these stocks, they have, you can say, moved up very smartly. And many of these companies have also entered the new energy businesses. For example, all these petroleum companies, they are setting up, they were already into CNG. They are now setting up EV charging stations. For example, NTPC and some of these power companies, they are going on the sides of, say, setting up more and more of renewable power. So that has led to, I think, some sort of sharp rebound in the valuations for these stocks.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Please finish your statement.
Yeah. So that has resulted in sharp rebound because investors have started now factoring them as a play even on the emerging, you can say, segments like green energy and some of the other ones of that type.
Yeah. Absolutely. Green energy has become the buzzword, has it not? But let's do one thing. Let's also talk about some numbers now. CS, the pre-opening rates that are settling in right now. And there are big moves actually coming through. Reliance is seeing some follow-on buying, up about 2% over there. Cipla is up almost 1.5%. Adani Group stocks would be interesting to see what's happening there. A couple of these names, Bajaj Finance, the numbers were pretty decent, so keep an eye out on that. And some of these stocks in the broader markets also doing pretty well. So the mid-cap index, although it's absolutely flat right now, I would be interested to see how names like IFCI, etc. are doing. IFCI is up almost 10% this morning. IRDA is up 5%. IRB Infra was a big mover yesterday. That one is up about 4% as well. But Amnish Agarwal of Prabhudas Lilladher is still with us. Amnish, L&T comes out with numbers today, and that one, of course, ahead of the budget is in focus. Are you expecting anything big this time around, and how are you positioned on the stock?
We are very positive on L&T because when it comes to playing the entire infrastructure pack in the country, I think one name clearly stands out, whether you look at, say, infra construction of any sort. So I think, particularly with regards to numbers, I think the numbers will continue to be good, particularly for their core segment. And I think with the renewed emphasis, which I believe will come from the budget on the development of the basic infrastructure in the country, I think in the long term, L&T continues to look good. However, the returns, I think, could be slightly back-ended given the fact that the stock has given a very sharp 20% kind of a return in the last couple of months.
Okay, all right. Amnish, thanks a lot for joining in and giving us your view on a whole host of stocks. Wishing you a good Tuesday ahead.